Welcome to Ladies-in-Law, where real-world advice meets professional wisdom and empowerment in realms of law and business. Your hosts, Lisa Goucher, Dawn Smith, and Kellye Raymond, bring you innovative strategies, practical guidance, and inspirational stories. Join us as we inspire and support women to thrive in traditionally male-dominated fields. We're here to promote inclusivity and provide practical advice for success. Hi, Lisa here today with Dawn and Kellye, and we have a special guest. We love her to pieces because Megan Hargroder with Legends Legal Marketing does all of our marketing. And we are excited to talk about how she has developed this amazing business in truly a male-dominated industry. Megan, thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me. It's so exciting being on one of these after seeing so many of them.
I think we did it backwards. We should have had you first.
Yes, we should have. We would have gotten some tips.
That's right.
Right. No, I love this. This is so much fun already.
So Megan, just so our audience knows kind of what you do, just tell us a little bit about where you are right now in your career and what you do.
Yeah, so right now I run Legends Legal Marketing. We do website development and marketing for solo small firm lawyers. I have a team of 12 currently. We are growing. And our goal actually in the next 3 years is to further niche into just working with women lawyers.
That's brave. That's very brave.
Yeah, I love that.
Aren't women lawyers a little bit more of a challenge than male lawyers?
No. Okay, in some ways, yes, but like in fun ways, right?
Because how? Tell us how.
Like we're all about metrics, right? We're all about ROI, and women are more likely to know their numbers and pay attention to their numbers and be more metrics focused. And men are sometimes, even though it's like almost 2025, right? Sometimes I still have to bring in my one male employee onto a call with men so that he can repeat what I said so that the man can hear it from another man. And he's like, oh yeah, of course. All right, man. All right, brother. All right, my dude. Like men have so many pet names for each other. It's crazy. But so, I don't have to bring in backup. Like when I'm working with women, there's like a mutual respect and a mutual trust that is built a lot easier, and you don't have that hurdle of a man thinking you're not smart enough because you're a woman.
That is something that is definitely a challenge.
It's wild that you're still running into that in 2020, right? Almost 2025. It's crazy that it's almost 2025, by the way, but it's wild that you're still running it. So what do you do when something like that happens? I mean, I feel like it would be hard not to acknowledge that, me and my big mouth.
It is. In some cases, I do acknowledge it. In some cases, I have called people out on it. In some cases, it's a big project and I can't afford to compromise it. And that's when I bring in my male team member, and it's a joke between all of us at this point. He literally just repeats exactly what I said. And without fail, someone calls him my dude, my man, my brother. Yeah, cool. Everything you said is great, because men think that men know more. It doesn't happen all the time. It's happening like less and less and less. But I have been pretty surprised lately. I thought it was something where people were going to age out of that. But I've noticed it coming in from like the much younger generation of men as well. So yeah, there's a middle gen of men who are like, they're fine. And then there's like the older ones and like the way younger ones that are, something's happened there. I don't know. I don't know what it is.
That's really interesting. So I will say that, I'm kind of surprised by that. And we've had a lot of conversations with, I think that the three of us haven't really been as impacted by, men kind of talking down to us or something like that. I mean, I've certainly had that experience, but definitely not consistently, right? It's kind of random. And I think maybe when you're dealing with younger lawyers, younger male lawyers, they're trying to prove something. That's the only thing that I can think of. And maybe they would treat everybody like that. You know what I mean? It's just those young male lawyers that are kind of trying to make their way, that are kind of the alphas, that you're probably only dealing with the alphas because you're, doing your marketing spiel to them. So I hope that's what it is, maybe.
Yeah, and I think it's partially, there's no other women-owned legal marketing firms that I know of.
Wait, say that again for everybody.
Yeah, say that one more time.
Yeah, that I know of. There's no other woman-owned and run and primarily completely just all women legal marketing firms. So I think it's also something where a lot of lawyers have already worked with multiple marketing firms in their career. People like to switch around a lot. So in a lot of cases, I am the first woman in this space that these lawyers have spoken to. So I don't know, maybe it's confusing for them. As I'm getting older, it's also a lot easier. I did this experiment in 2021 where I dyed my hair this like purple gray old lady color. And I pinned it up like an old lady, and I only wore glasses to my meetings. And I had like a 100% close rate on all of the
Wow.
That's hilarious.
So there's something there.
Why do you think marketing is so male dominated?
I think legal marketing specifically is male dominated because lawyers are, as an industry, the biggest spenders of marketing dollars. So I think people see that as a big opportunity, especially those marketing companies that are going in for a big swing. And the ones that are going in for the big swing are most often male-owned companies, because as women, we are comfortable with what we know. We promise what we can deliver. And it's kind of a different ball game. Whereas coming in for these really big legal accounts, your pitch has to be like Nike level Don Draper, coming in, and big promises, right? So a lot of men can get away with more in terms of making promises and then not delivering on them. Whereas I feel like as women, we are held to what we say. And just as a person who works within integrity in general, I want to be held to what I say. So I think you'll find a lot more women in creative agencies that are targeting more like lifestyle brands and different companies like that. Even in the tech space, there are more. But in legal, for some reason, this got cornered by men pretty early. And I've been doing it for a while. I'm in this, it's been 14 years now. So I've been doing it for a while. I've seen a lot of them come and go. But there's all of the big players that have been around and are still around are very male dominated.
Well, and Megan, we met you via Dawn, and you all met at a women's conference, which is interesting that connection was made there. And then that was about the time that we were doing the podcast. So my question to you, because I know a lot of our listeners, they are in the law firms, they do need legal marketing. You're doing it for us related to the podcast, but would you share what you actually do for a law firm or an attorney or anyone else maybe that I'm not addressing?
Yeah. For our law firms, we work with small firms, so 10 attorneys or less. Right now, we're obviously working on an expansion plan so that our clients stop growing out of us, because we want to stay with them as they grow. But we do everything. So early on, whenever I started just doing social media, I realized people needed a good website for the social media to work. So then I started building websites and then learning about SEO. And I realized all these pieces go together. And lawyers don't like juggling multiple vendors for different things. So I built up a company to where we could be that one-stop shop. And a lot of our clients are actually solos. So we're not just their marketing team. We're the only other person in the firm that they have to bounce ideas off of. So we've got Slack channels. We chit chat with them throughout the day on Slack. And then we handle their websites, their marketing, their SEO. If they need a flyer or a billboard designed, if they need a second opinion about something, Sometimes they just text us pictures from their kids' birthday parties. Like it's a very like collaborative thing where we feel like we are part of their firm. So yeah, so that's mainly it. And we do things in like little pieces, but we really like those long term. Like most of our clients have been with us for over 5 years now. And so we really like building those long-term relationships because it's also really fun data wise to say like, I started working with this person when they were just one solo attorney. And like, now they've hired 7 other lawyers and like, we got to be part of that growth, and watching that growth, for my clients has taught me a lot about how to grow my own company. Both good and bad lessons, right? Like I got to watch people make a lot of mistakes and I got to watch people have a lot of success. And a law firm does work a lot like a marketing agency. So there's a lot of parallels that I've been able to take away from watching clients grow, which has been a cool bonus.
That is really cool. So how did you decide? First of all, you started as a marketing company. You had an idea or a vision to have some sort of a marketing company, but then you decided to niche down into legal. What made you, make that decision to deal with like real pain in the butt profession like lawyers?
Well, first of all, it was a total accident. I didn't mean to start a company. All I wanted to do was I fell in love with yoga. I wanted to go to yoga. I was working in a nonprofit, so I could not afford to go. So I just bartered my social media services for free yoga classes. And the studio owner, this is in New Orleans, knew all of these other business owners. And she's like, look at what this girl's doing on my social media. Then they hired me for actual money. And then all of a sudden I was making more money doing that than I was at the nonprofit. And I was like, I guess this is how you start a business. And so I just kind of fell into it, working for half of the boutiques on Magazine Street in New Orleans, which was exhausting. And then I met my friend Ernie, the attorney, at a co-working space. And he was like, you should really come talk about marketing to lawyers during CLEs, because at the time they didn't know anything about social media. So I did that. And my very first lawyer client was Lexley Overton, who you just had on the show.
That's so Lexley.
No way. Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah, I met her at a CLE. She came and talked to me afterward, and she's like, what do you charge to handle all of my marketing? And I was like, had never done it for a lawyer before. So I stopped and I was like, I don't know, like, what do you want to pay? And she goes, no, what is your top rate? And I want to pay your top rate. And I want to support your business while you support my business. And I was like, whoa. Okay. So she did. She paid my top full rate. We worked together for years while she was still practicing law. Then she transitioned into doing a whole bunch of other stuff. I still remember when she came in for a meeting one day and we were supposed to talk about the legal stuff. And she goes, Megan, you're going to think I'm crazy, but I had this download during a meditation and I'm going to become a shaman. And I was like, oh, what?
You're like, how do I market for a shaman?
And I just thought it was like a thing. I was like, I think she's going to change her mind later. It doesn't seem like you can make money doing that. So like really stick with the law. This seems to be paying the bills. But slowly, like watching her transition out into her business. So now it's been over 10 years. She's one of my best friends. And we still like get to support each other's businesses in different ways. So,
well, and I want to say for our listeners, we shared and had a wonderful conversation with Lexley Overton. That's who Megan is talking about. There's probably about a month between the podcasts. So if you go check her out, she's all about coaching, getting the most out of you. She's been friends with Megan for over 10 years. We are building a relationship with her as well. So go check out Lexley Overton.
Lots of great things to say about coaching and really how to grow your practice and how to just have balance, right? We're talking about this one of the themes that we have on this podcast is really trying to have that balance and the myth of the balance. And we want to call it work-life integration instead, but just supporting mental health. Lawyers are so far behind on all of that, just really far behind when it comes to supporting just the core of your being so that you could actually do what you're great at. It's
really important work, I feel like, that she's doing. Megan, I'm curious. So you've got this experience where you help lawyers grow their business, and the firm grows, I imagine, by a large part due to the work that you're doing. So that's got to be really cool. But tell us about how you've grown your own business. I think Dawn told me that you had 12 employees. Is that right?
Yep. We're 12 now. We're growing a little bit in the new year as well. And I've added one person at a time. I've grown really conservatively because I have watched what some of these other similar agencies have done in terms of growing really quickly. And if you grow too quickly in this type of space, you sacrifice quality and integrity on some level. So I wanted to be really careful not to do that because I knew all along that was always going to be my differentiating factor, would be the quality and the making good on the promises, because most people don't. So one at a time, I hired Colleen as my assistant. First, after it was just me, I hired my partner, Lo. We brought on Molly as a contractor. Everyone came on as a contractor first, which I think is really safe, because you're putting a lot of eggs in one basket when you hire an employee and you don't really know how that person's going to perform within your company. So we even have a lot of things in place now where someone has to do a multiple step test in order to like even get to the interview phase of working with us, to make sure that, that they can actually do the work. And part of the test is an attitude test, and they don't even know it. But part of it is we take something they did and we give them really harsh criticism about it. And then we see if they take it personally, if they make the adjustments, how they handle it, how they respond to it. Because at the end of the day, someone can be really, really good at something, but they also have to like what they're doing and care about what they're doing and bring a positive attitude to the workspace. So like for me, it's a non-negotiable that people have a good attitude and on some level are having fun with this, because if you're not having fun with it, then the result's not going to be good.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, that makes total sense. So in reference, talking back about the successful clients and the fact that you've retained some clients as long as 10 years, what can you put your finger on the thing that makes it successful? Like when a company signs up with you, when a firm, what do they have to come to the table with as far as how they're looking at the overall program to really be successful at the end of the day and stay in there?
Truly, the really successful ones are the ones that trusted us from the beginning, which usually involves me saying, okay, you have these 3 practice areas. Let's just do this one. And they're terrified, right? They're like, no, because like, I'm not going to make enough money doing just this one thing. People are terrified of niching. But we do the keyword research up front. So we're looking at like keyword volume, competition on those keywords, what that's going to look like in terms of growth. And like, here's what happens if you corner the market. From an SEO perspective, it's much easier to corner the market if you have one single practice area. For example, we did a traffic ticket lawyer website and marketing presence in the city of New Orleans. And we organized an education campaign around it because a lot of people don't know that you don't have to pay your traffic tickets. You can actually just pay a smaller fee to a lawyer to handle that for you. So like we actually got him on some morning shows and some different things to talk about that, did a billboard. But the website itself now generates just hundreds and hundreds of traffic tickets every month, and it's automated. And now we're adding on some practice areas now that we've cornered the market on traffic tickets. But if you have a website where you're doing 5 different practice areas at one time, it's going to be harder. And from an SEO perspective, you're going to want to like focus on one area or the other. So one of the things that we do that I think is why our clients are most successful is just paying attention to metrics. So for me to provide value to my clients, I believe I need to show them a 10x return on their investment with us. So if they are paying us $5,000 a month, I want them to be able to see that I made them $50,000 that month off of actual cases that signed. So we track that by leads and conversion rate on your leads, because no one has 100% conversion rate. Some people have very high conversion rates and some people have very low conversion rates, which is also a whole other thing where you're like, hey, I'm not an intake specialist, but if your conversion rate is 9%, you have an intake problem and you need to talk to Lexley about that. I send a lot of people to Lexley. So like sometimes people have breakdowns and I'm like, I am here to listen to you. But if you need help with that, you got to talk to Lexley. I really just need a t-shirt that says y'all need Lexley. And I can like wear that on my calls.
If you get those, we want one. Just pass those around.
I'll make some for the crew. I'll put the Ladies-in-Law logo on it too. It'll be cool. We'll
Perfect.
put all of our branding on it.
Perfect. Well, tell us a little bit, Megan, about really the importance that you have seen with having women on your leadership team, building the business and focusing with that kind of the female perspective and diversifying to make sure that you have a lot of different perspectives. How has that really helped your business?
Yeah, I don't know how I would have done this with a male team, because the female brain is just a lot more flexible in general and a lot more able to multitask and think about things in different ways. So for example, Colleen wears a lot of hats within my business, but one of her roles is like, make sure the clients are happy. And she takes that seriously. And that's not really something that a male brain would be like, let me do these things. And like, she's thoughtful, right? Like if we have a client who loses a loved one, she'll plant trees in their loved one's name and like just do like really thoughtful things, check in on people, see how they're doing, just like as humans on a human level. And I think that she has helped us deepen our relationships with our clients in that way. And that helps us to build trust with our clients. And trust is really important because sometimes we come to people with some wild ideas and I'm like, I feel really confident about this idea. Don't know for sure if it's going to work, but I think we should try it. Like you should have heard the first time I pitched TikTok to a client. They were not having it. And I was like, just trust me, let's try it. But so the more we've built up trust, the more likely people are to be like, okay, let's try this new thing. So she's been really, really pivotal. And then just having different perspectives in general. So Colleen is queer and she lives in Florida, which is a fun combo. Molly, also on my leadership team, is Muslim and she actually lived in Morocco for years. That's where she met her husband and then she moved back to the States. So she's like a bit more conservative. And so just the balance of having a team who have a lot of different, like Molly doesn't drink. Colleen, as you know, Colleen drinks a lot.
I've had a couple of cocktails with Colleen.
Colleen's on blast right now.
We love Colleen. Shout out to Colleen.
Shout out to Colleen. Shout out to when I walked outside of that conference and Colleen is like 6 margaritas deep in the hot tub with all the judges. And I was like,
She's great.
How did you do that?
She is great. She's really great.
Colleen is very, very talented at people. Like people really, really like her and gravitate towards her, which is why I take her to conferences with me because she's not bringing on clients. I mean, I'm not bringing on clients. She's bringing on clients whenever we go to conferences. So I feel like that is like a huge, huge strength of hers.
Yeah, she's great.
I really loved when you're talking about the human element to what you bring to your clients, because I think a lot of, the numbers are the numbers, right? And in order to get business and to keep business, you've got to be able to show them the numbers and that you are delivering on the numbers. But I think it's wildly more important to have this element of, hey, I like that person. And yes, I like being around that person. And I like that person isn't just in a vacuum and they've got other folks on their team that look different and sound different and they're not all just bringing the same sort of idea. I think that's so important to retaining clients in business is to make sure that on a human level, I'm sure assholes get business too, but I think that it's always a little bit, it's more fun and it's easier, I think, to keep clients if you do develop a good, positive working relationship and friendship with those clients.
And for us, that's another point of like working with women lawyers is they're just more fun to develop these friendships with. So it works well for us too, because we want to like all of our clients. We want to have fun with our clients at the end of the day. Like the metrics are the baseline for success, right? Like we've got KPIs that we are hitting every month to make sure that we are doing the work that needs to get done. So you're getting the leads. Because at the end of the day, like we give reports out, but it's like, I'm not wasting your time telling you how many impressions you got on a thing or how many this, that, or the other. When it comes to managing SEO for a law firm, the only metric is how many clients did you get this month that came in from your website. And so that is the baseline, and everything on top of that is where it gets fun. That's where it's social media campaigns and awareness and, creating cool swag and, getting you out there and going to conferences and all of that kind of stuff and making all of our jobs fun. Cause I don't want to say any job could be fun, but any job could be fun if you decide it's going to be fun and you make it that way. I know for lawyering, it's a bit tougher, but I always tell my team, like, no one's lives are in our hands. Right? Like at the end of the day, the pressure on us is just to meet the numbers. And if we didn't meet the numbers, then we just need to look at the data and find out why and then do better next month, right? Because nobody's perfect. But yeah, our clients are dealing with bigger, heavier shit than that. So I also feel like it's kind of our role to make this marketing fun for them and give them a break from like the heavier lawyer stuff during the day to just talk about something a little bit more fun, but that's still related to your business.
So, Megan, I have a question for you. When you pull when you decide you're just going to move forward with women, what does that look like when a man calls? Are you going to put Colleen on the phone and say, all right, Colleen, you're the people person. Tell him, dude, you're out.
We're not taking it.
Well, whenever we make the switch, it'll be all over our branding. So I don't think we'll get as many. Yeah, we probably won't get as many calls for men. We will always make exceptions for like some of the really good ones, right? There's men aren't bad. And I have some clients now that like I wouldn't get rid of. I love them. They've been with me for this whole time. So like men aren't bad. I mean, I have a couple of them that I'll definitely like push out the door once I can replace them with women, right?
Be in with your business to be able to say, hey, that's great. I don't want to work with you anymore. I mean, to me, that's the ultimate level of success. Success is defined so many different ways. Being able to have a choice and control over who you work with. I think going back to being happy and having fun in whatever your profession is, having the choice to say, hey, I like you, I want to work with you, or hey, I don't like you and I don't need your business is such a really cool spot to be in. Congrats.
Thank you. It feels great. The first time I got to tell someone we don't want to work with you anymore was I felt so powerful. I was like, and also like powerful and nurturing, right? Because I was doing this for my team. I was like, you can't yell at my team. You don't get to talk to my people that way. They are more important to me than you are. And I don't think this is going to work out well. And in general, I remember telling this guy, I was like, in general, you just shouldn't speak to women that way. I'm sure you're used to that in your regular life, but just as a pro tip going forward, it's not a good idea because a lot of men have like made it their whole lives by speaking down to women and at some point they've just never been corrected. So, and maybe they have, and it just doesn't work, but it was a huge victory the first time I got to fire someone like that. And I am very on the front end. I'm very cautious going into any new relationships. I vet people. I Google them. You can find out a lot of stuff about people online. And so, yeah, it's It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool being able to choose who you work with, and then kind of honing in, right? Like these women in law conferences that we go to, it's obviously you're only going to meet women there. So it makes more sense to do those too.
Well, I think women are so scared to hire a marketing company, or especially you're going out on your own and you're really looking to find how to differentiate yourself. I'm having a hard time with hard words today, but it'll be okay. Just finding somebody that is supportive of you and supportive of your ideas, and to have those ideals and have some sort of structure to where you can go, all right, I don't know exactly what I want to do, but I know I need something. And I think you are brilliant for, choosing this area, because really women need you. We definitely need you. I mean, when I was talking to you about this podcast, you're like, well, let's talk about this. Let's kind of figure this out. This sounds like it. What are your topics? Oh, I don't like that one. I mean, I love that you're brutally honest. And so is Colleen. I love that about you guys. I mean, you absolutely shoot it straight the whole time. So I'm just so excited about this new adventure that you're on.
Yeah, and you should be cautious going into any marketing arrangement in general. And I do find that women are more cautious and ask more questions, ask typically really good questions. But that is like one piece of advice I have for women lawyers when you're vetting marketing companies is start with the KPIs. See what they're actually promising you, because a number of social media posts, number of blog posts, none of that really means anything.
Megan, sorry, tell us what a KPI is.
Yeah, tell us what a KPI is. Just tell us what
a KPI is. A key performance indicator, and it is a measurement of your goals. So if your goal is 20 new clients per month, and you have a 50% conversion rate on average, then you need 40 good leads per month in order to get those clients, which means you need the whole of your marketing efforts that you're paying for to generate 40 leads per month. And you need that tracked. So that is where you really need to be starting. If you're paying for marketing and they're not doing those types of KPIs and tracking, then you get what you get. But you always want to measure. Even if you do let's just say you're launching your own Google ad campaign. If you spend $5,000 on a Google ad campaign and your average case value is $5,000 and you got one case, that is it a 1x return or is it a 0 return?
Zero.
I think that's a wash.
That's zero. Yeah, that's.
I think that's negative.
Just paid for the case. So those are the numbers that you want to pay attention to. I've audited people's books where people spend 40, 50, hundreds of thousands of dollars a month on Google ads, right? And then you can actually look and see conversion rates on those. And you're like, you are negative ROI and you're still running these campaigns. So you should stop. Women are less likely to do something like that because they're paying attention a bit more to what those numbers are. But yeah, that's a big thing I recommend. And I also recommend when you're vetting companies, don't just read their reviews, reach out to their clients and get on the phone with their clients and ask them, like, what results has this company delivered to you? Because as a salesperson, I can tell you anything I want, right? I'm not obligated under all as a marketing person. We don't have to follow legal ethics rules of professionalism and all this other stuff. We're not bound by anything. We can say whatever. So anytime you're talking to a salesperson, expect it to be a sales pitch and talk to actual clients, because that's how you'll find out what you can expect.
Great advice.
Yeah. Well, Megan, thank you so much for taking the time to be on with us today and just kind of leading us through this adventure that we've taken all on together. You're part of our team. We love you guys, and thank you so much for being a part of today.
Thanks for listening to today's episode of Ladies in Law. We hope you're walking away inspired and ready to shake things up in law and business. Don't forget to hit subscribe and let us know what you think. Spread the word and share this podcast with your network. Follow us on socials for all the behind-the-scenes fun and sneak peeks of upcoming episodes. Until next time, keep rocking it, keep breaking the mold, and as always, keep aspiring to inspire.